with a Dutch company developing artificial intelligence or AI software for use in healthcare that notices, for example, when clients fall and when people with dementia wander from their location. So this is some cool health technology, if you will. The Chief Business Officer with Kepler Vision is Marc Van Oldenborgh. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me, Dave.
It's a pleasure. Welcome into tomorrow. Did I do an adequate job describing what you do?
You did an excellent job. I couldn't have done it better.
Oh, well, thank you. Why are you here at this trade show in Vegas this week?
Kepler Vision, as you said, is monitoring the older people and primarily with dementia, because a lot of people get dementia.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. And they need to be monitored. They need help when needed.
Yeah.
Problem is there is a big lack of staff in our country, but I think it's a common problem in the Western world.
Sure.
So we need technology to provide this care, and we are a technology which can be used, and we monitor the elderly by video. We can see in the video stream what they're doing, what their actions are. It's not to spy on them.
I was going to say the privacy issue comes to mind immediately.
Yeah,
people say, I don't want to be watched, but I want someone to know if I fall, right?
Yes, but they are watched anyway because there are nurses all the time.
True.
The nurses have night shifts. They do their night rounds and they wake them up 3 times a night.
Oh.
How terrible.
Yeah.
You know, with the flashlight. They want to be sure.
True.
So instead of having the nurses watching them 3 times a night, waking them up, we put a camera in each room. We monitor them. When nothing happens, we don't send an alarm. But when they get out of bed and need help, we send an alarm to the nurses. And the nurses can use their time efficiently because they don't have to do their night rounds. They can only act when it's needed. That's our product.
So no doubt that probably the biggest challenge in the healthcare industry these days, as you described, is not enough people to not only make the rounds, but to just keep an eye. Does this work in someone's home as well, or is it only in healthcare facilities at the moment?
Our current product is, we call it the Kepler ProCare. It is only deployed in nursing homes and hospitals.
Okay.
But as you said, you want the nurses to be efficient. And currently, with the sensors, the traditional sensors, there are a lot of false alarms. So, to give you an example, in a traditional nursing home, there is 1 false alarm per hour.
Oh, geez.
Yeah? We have 1 false alarm every 20 days.
Wow.
So, the nurses are very happy with us. They need 2 weeks to adapt to our system because they are used to all these alarms coming in.
Yes. And
so
in fact, interesting you mentioned that because I was unfortunately hospitalized in the early times of COVID for a full month in the hospital. And the thing that bothered me the most, other than lack of breathing and lungs and pneumonia and whatnot, was the fact that they had all these wandering alarms for the elderly on my same floor that were going off day and night all the time. And I was asking the nurses, can't you just tie them to the bed? I mean, come on, something has to give. But your solution makes so much more sense that they're not getting not only false alarms, but if someone does wander, they get the alarm at the nurse's station and can deal with it. Everybody on the floor doesn't have to hear it and wake up 20 times a night.
Yeah. Not to speak about alarm fatigue.
Yeah.
That they don't react at all anymore.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And as a former police officer, I can relate to that, too. How many alarms we respond to, burglar alarms, only to find there was no problem. And then, unfortunately, you become careless. And maybe the 14th alarm, there is a problem. And you're like, oh, here we go again. And you're not on guard properly.
But do I understand well that you were on a ventilation machine? Or
no, fortunately, I never had to go on a ventilation, which was kind of the kiss of death, unfortunately, for most people during that early time. No vaccines yet, no anything. They didn't even know how to treat. You know, they were throwing everything at me. You know, blood plasma transfusions and all. It was unbelievable. But I could see where your technology could have made a difference, even in my hospital stay, at least for those on the rest of the floor that were wandering or would fall from the hospital bed, that kind of thing. Yeah.
May I give you an example?
Sure.
We developed a new class of AI which can recognize if a mask is correctly put on the face.
Oh, really? So you're even watching the masks?
Yes, and the current situation is that you get an alarm, the nurses get an alarm when the saturation, the oxygen, is too low. But that's already too late.
Yeah.
And that happens because during the night people sleep, the mask shifts to one end,
Yep.
it's not correctly placed. So
And
we can
I was
warn.
on oxygen the whole time, and that did occur with me too. Their alarms would go off, and they'd come running into my room.
Yeah, but we
Your
give
pulse
the alarm.
ox is low again. You know?
Yeah, but we give the alarm before your pulse goes down.
Good.
Yeah.
That would have helped.
And that's the same for people with apnea. What is it called in English? CPAP.
Oh, of course, yeah, exactly.
Yeah?
Chris is on a CPAP machine every night. Even
So-
has to travel with it, so it's here in Lost Wages with him.
So that's all AI and computer vision. So we
Yes.
can do a lot of things with that. So we have fall detection, what we said, but also fall prevention when people try to get up.
Okay.
So the nurses are warned.
Mm-hmm.
We have a customer and they have a saying. I don't know how to translate it, but they say it is run or mop.
Oh, wow.
Because
yeah,
people
I get it.
need-
Yeah. Yep. Either have to clean up a problem
Yeah.
or run there to prevent the problem.
yeah.
No. It makes perfect sense. Well, then, so what's next for Kepler Technologies? It sounds, and by the way, to get back, I'm always hearing my audience in my head saying, ask this question. You know, when you talk about monitoring, is it actually AI doing the monitoring, or is it humans that are watching?
No. It's just AI. Nobody's watching, and if nothing happens, the images are destroyed.
Good.
And by the way, all the images, all the faces are blurred. You cannot identify.
Okay.
Kepler doesn't identify people.
So you're looking at a human being
Yes.
falling, unfortunately, or wandering away,
Yes, a
and
human
then
being.
and AI is saying, "Alert the nurse."
One exception.
Okay.
There is, as you know, dementia, people with dementia start wandering.
Yeah.
And they can enter certain, they should be prevented to go in hazardous areas.
Right.
So certain doors should be locked or they should be guided back to their room.
Yeah.
In that case, we need to identify, and we have a special technology, which is, we call it appearance-based access. So we look at the appearance and we combine it with face detection.
Okay. Gotcha.
And by that,
And then you have to see the face.
and then and then there is an identification.
Right.
Otherwise, it's just a human being.
Excellent. Well, keep up the good work, because you guys are clearly helping the healthcare industry, which means helping us as patients in the long run.
At the end, yeah.
Yeah, at the end is exactly true. KeplerVision.eu/en to be safe for English. But if you get to KeplerVision.eu, then you're going to see more of what's going on with Marc and his team. Keep up the good work. As I mentioned, thank you for joining us into tomorrow.
May I do one last remark?
Yes.
The product will be in Q1 23 will be available at home, so you can look after your mother or your father.
Good. See, that's
Thank you
amazing.
very much,
Oh,
Dave.
you're welcome, and that's even more encouraging. So let us know when that happens. We'll make sure to tell our audience. I am Dave Graveline. We are coming to you from the Human Touch exhibit. You can see all the cool massage chairs filled constantly here with long lines for folks to de-stress a bit from walking the show floor. And we're back with more as Into Tomorrow continues. Don't go away.